can we talk about endurance, right? So I had this mentality, right? And I know other people have had this mentality as well, is that, oh, like Yahweh Shai is coming back. What's the point in me working hard? What's the point in me doing all these things like paying off debts? Or what's the point in me having this, good job? Or, what's the point in me and that evangelizing? All these things. What's the point when Yahweh Shai is going to come back? Well, first of all, you don't want to be like the 5 of the 10 virgins who were not prepared. Okay, who were not prepared. They had not prepared for Yahushua to come back, right? We don't want to do that. We don't. So we are to endure to the end. Those who endure to the end will be saved or will have salvation. But here's the thing. I know life is hard. I do know that life is hard. And I do know that some people who are not in Yah will do things to, I guess, in their mind, make life easier, which would be like not living at all, take it upon themselves to play Yah and, all that, if you know what I'm saying. I ain't trying to, get a violation. But people will take it into their own hands to make life easier, and even with not doing that, they'll take their own hands to make life easier with just doing things that aren't necessarily legal, which actually makes things harder for you. They take the easy way out of doing everything. But the thing is, life is supposed to be hard. Nobody said that this walk was easy, right? Let's go to James, the book of James, because one of my favorite things about James is what he says about enduring. Let me see. Is it James chapter? It might be chapter 1, I believe. Yes. My brothers, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the proving of your belief works endurance. And let endurance have a perfect work, so that you be perfect and complete, lacking in naught. Right? So when you endure, you're not going to lack anything, because there's no situation that you're going to be in that Yah is not going to have a way for you to get out of. There's not. There's always going to be a way for you to get out of that situation, but you have to be in that situation. It's a test of your faith. It's a test of your endurance. It's a test of your belief and trust that Yah's going to get you out of it. We're always being tested. Always. He does not tempt. He tests. That's where some people get it misconstrued. But let's talk about endurance. So let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 2, starting at verse 10. It says, "So I endure through it all for the sake of the chosen, so that they too obtain deliverance." So Paul is talking about he's enduring everything. He's enduring the persecution. He's enduring the imprisonment. He's enduring the beatings. He's enduring all of these things for the sake of the saints, right? For the sake of the chosen, who were chosen by Yahweh Shai. And it says, to obtain deliverance, which is in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, with everlasting esteem. Trustworthy is the word, for if we died with him, we shall also live with him. If we endure, we shall also reign with him. We have to endure, because the thing is, if you're going to sit here and try to just not endure, try to just make life easy by like not doing anything that Yah has called you to do, what makes you think you're going to get into the kingdom? Because if you ain't doing nothing here in the physical, what makes you think that you're going to be doing something in the spiritual? Yah does not want anybody who's going to be lazy. No, you have to endure. If we deny him, he also shall deny us. So if you do not endure, that means you are denying him, and he is going to deny you access to the kingdom. It's as simple as that. Like, I I don't like anything that is an inconvenience. I don't like to be inconvenienced. That is one of my things that I'm working on. Okay. I don't like being inconvenienced, but I do know that there's going to be times where I do have to be inconvenienced, and how I react to that situation is what y'all's looking at. Like, hey, let me see how you gonna get through this. What's going to be your reaction? What are you thinking? What are you going to say? What are you going to do? Yes, you have to. You have to be inconvenienced sometimes. Not everything is going to come to you easily. You have to put work in. We're not here to be lazy. Look at Adam. What was he said to do? Have dominion and work the earth. He had a job. When y'all made him, he had a job. He was created with a job. Not just for a set period of time, but he had a job that he's supposed to do forever, right? And so that also makes me think of like the thing about retirement. It's like, where did retirement come from? Because nowhere in this book, nowhere in here is there anything about retirement. No, these people worked until they died. So where does that come from? I was talking to a friend and he was like, well, that's something that was created by the world, probably by, I don't know, the Romans, Babylonians, I don't know, whoever, but it's not something that, was ever spoken about. Because if you think about like Moses worked until his death, like what he was purposed to do, he did that until he died. Same thing with those who came after him, Aaron and Joshua and on through. They all worked until they died. Even the apostles worked and did the work of Yahushua until they died. So where does this whole retirement come from? No, because in retirement, you typically aren't doing anything. You don't have to work to make money. You don't have to work at all. You can just go and do whatever it is that you want to do. But no, that is not how y'all set it up. It's not. Now, granted, there's the other side that you can retire and find you something to do, like volunteer or do evangelical work. I don't know, but y'all know what I'm saying, okay? But we have to endure, because if we don't, we're denying him. Because the thing is, he put us on this earth for a reason, and therefore we need to be doing that until we take our last breath. Or at least until the Great Tribulation, if we're still here for that, we still have to endure through that. So next scripture, let's turn to Hebrews 12 and 7. I think I'm going the wrong direction. Yes, Hebrews 12 and 7. And one thing to do to build up your endurance is to mature in your faith. Mature in your faith and mature in your belief. And Hebrews 12 and 7 says, if you endure discipline, Elohim is treating you as sons. So discipline is like correction. If you're enduring correction, and the correction can come in many different ways. It could come through other people, or it could come through Yah himself. Like you doing something you're not supposed to be doing, he will correct you. It could be you lose money, you could lose your job, you could, anything that requires him to get your attention, that puts you in an uncomfortable situation, that is correction, okay? For what son is there whom a father does not discipline? But if you are without discipline, of which all have become sharers, then you are illegitimate and not sons. So you are not his child if you are not taking to correction. If you're being corrected and you're just basically ignoring it and not correcting your behavior, you're not his child. You are illegitimate and not his son or daughter, okay? So endure and take that correction. 1 Peter 2 and 20. 1 Peter 2 and 20 says, for what credit is there in enduring a beating when you sin? But if you suffer for doing good and you endure, this finds favor with Elohim. So there's no credit in enduring a beating when you sin. You don't get credit for that. You don't get credit for enduring. But like I said, if you change your behavior and you are doing good, but you are suffering, that you're having a hard time, that is what you get credit for. Even when the times are good, there's still going to be some suffering. There's always going to be some suffering, no matter what. There's not going to be a point in time in your life when you're not going to be suffering. And I had somebody tell me that by going by the Old Testament and living by the law, you are creating suffering for yourself. No. Living by the law is not suffering, it's obedience. Suffering is living by the law and being persecuted, going through hard times, going through trials and tribulations, going through the test that our Father gives us. That is suffering, not obeying his laws. Next scripture, James 5:11. James is one of my favorite books, honestly. It is. See, we call those blessed who endure. You have heard of the endurance of Job or Iob, and saw the purpose of Yah, and he is very sympathetic and compassionate. So we know what kind of suffering Iob went through. If you read the book of Job, which I recently read, you will know that he suffered a whole lot. He suffered because Satan was talking about, he was walking to and fro trying to find somebody to test. And Yah said, well, how about my servant Job? He is perfect and straight in all his ways. And Satan was like, yeah, because you give him everything. But as soon as you take that stuff away, he's going to turn against you. Did he? I mean, he got real slick with his words. There were points where I was just like, hey, chill out. Like, you talking a whole lot out your neck. But he endured. He did not go up against Yah. Even though he was talking about stepping up to him, he realized, like, that's not my place. Like, I am being tested. Even though he did nothing wrong, he was perfect and straight in all his ways. So he was doing good, but he still suffered. He was being tested. And that's the thing. Yah has a purpose for everything that he does. Every trial and tribulation that we go through, there is a purpose for that. There is. We may not know what it is. We may not see what it is. But whenever we're going through something that is hard, just remember, okay, Yah has a purpose for this. He has a purpose for why I'm going through what I'm going through. Okay. 1 Corinthians 10:13. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 10:13. Y'all, endurance is something that you really do have to work towards. It's not easy, and it takes time. It definitely takes time. No trial has overtaken you except such as is common to man. There's nothing that you've gone through that somebody else is not going through. And Elohim is trustworthy, who shall not allow you to be tried beyond which you are able. And this is what I was saying at the beginning. There's not anything that you're going to go through that he's not going to have a way out. But with the trial shall also make the way of escape, enabling you to bear it. You're going to get through whatever it is that you're going through. There is always a way to get out of it. Pray, fast, and study the word. He always makes a way. He's not going to make you go through something that there's no way to get out of. Sometimes people feel hopeless, and that's because that has a lot to do with their faith and how much they believe in Yah's goodness and him showing up. We always think that because he's not doing things on our timeline doesn't matter. You can do away with that. You can go and get that out of your head. Our timeline does not matter. It's his timeline, not our own. James, we read that one. Hebrews 10, and this is the last one, and 36. Hebrews 10:36. And I will leave all these scriptures down below. I should have said it at the beginning. For you have need of endurance, so that when you have done the desire of Elohim, you receive the promise. For yet a little while, he who is coming shall come and shall not delay. But the righteous shall live by belief. But if anyone draws back, my being has no pleasure in him. So if you refuse to endure, that's like the scripture before that says if you deny him, he will deny you. If you refuse to endure, like it says, if anyone draws back, my being has no pleasure in him. So endure. Grow your faith. Sit in his presence. Talk to him. Have a conversation with him. Pray. Fast. study, because you have to. Like, you're not going to be able to endure if you don't know what his promises are, if you don't know what it is that he has for you. The only way you're going to find that is by reading this book. And that's all I have for y'all. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one.